Hello and welcome to Preparing for Prosperity. I'm AJ Harrison. Today is Monday, October 13th, 2023, and it has been just about a month since my last podcast on here. In that time, I have had pneumonia, then got better just in time to go to Jack Spirko's TSP 23 workshop in Texas, and then in the airport on the way home, pick up the flu and have been sick with that ever since, and I'm on the recovery. So my voice is a little off. My breathing is definitely off. And the timing is probably going to be off today as well. But we're going to quit letting the perfect be the enemy of the good and going to continue through. So I get a little bit of a tinny sound in my ear today, and I don't know if that's showing through on the microphone or not. But we're just going to try to push through and see how it goes. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, it's fall. It's actually winter now. It's not winter until the 21st of December, AJ, but it's winter in Montana. We got our first 3 inches of snow. What was it? The right before Halloween, or was it right after? It was somewhere right there. And we had snow on the ground for about a week, and it went away fairly quickly. And it was cold, 17 degrees during the daytime, super low colds at night. Was enough to freeze over the pool that I have yet to get taken down for the year. Another thing on the project, and the ums are back today. So I'm going to take a quick drink of coffee, and we will continue. So when I left for Texas, it was cold and miserable, and I still had a lot to do outside in order to get ready for winter. About a week and a half prior to leaving, we went out and picked everything that was left in the high tunnel that we call the greenhouse, because I was not heating the greenhouse anymore. And so by doing so, I brought in 3 5-gallon buckets of small paste tomatoes as well as cherry tomatoes. And then I brought in about 2 5-gallon buckets worth of peppers. Actually, it was probably a little bit more. I've got some pictures of it. There was actually so many that my basket that I took out was overflowing, and I resorted to just pulling some plants. I resorted to just pulling some plants out of the ground and bringing 3 entire plants full of large red peppers into the house. That way, went ahead and just picked the peppers off of them and then took them back out to the compost. And that was easier than making another trip out to go pick those specific peppers. And the way I did that was because it was the season-ending event and we were no longer going to have any peppers in there. I pulled every plant as I was harvesting anyway, and then I was able to actually stand up, hold the plant upside down, reveal all of the... Hold on just a second. Had to turn the heater off that just kicked on. Pulled the plant out of the ground, was able to hold it upside down and reveal all of the green peppers that you typically would miss by picking it right side up. So got all that taken care of. So those have been in the house kind of finishing ripening before the peppers were cut up, and then the tomatoes as they turn red and finish ripening are going right into the freezer so that we can make some January pasta sauce and can that. So we got that all taken care of, and the greenhouse is eagerly awaiting the newest arrivals to the homestead. In about 2 weeks, we are picking up 2 Idaho pasture piglets, and they're going to live in the greenhouse for the winter and on some deep bedding. And on nicer days, I'll give them some run access to where they can go outside, but it'll keep them out of the wind. They do okay in the cold. They just need to be out of the wind. So that will do very well. Plus, that will allow some deep bedding to kind of be thrown together to make compost out of in the spring. So super excited about that. What else do we have going on? Grandma's house is finally completely leveled, and I'm working on screwing off the rest of the sheetrock in the main part of the house, and at the same time doing some hot mudding, filling, getting ready for tape and texture. I have given myself a hard deadline of Friday evening when I go to sleep to have the taping all the way done, so that I can get it primed and get it textured over the weekend and painted early in the week. I want to be laying flooring on Thanksgiving Day in that house. She's got till the end of the year before her rent goes sky high, and so the goal is to have her moved into her house in December, right about Christmas time. If I can get the painting, if I can get the flooring installed Thanksgiving, that gives me, a couple weeks to get trim in and all the electrical trimmed out and start trimming out the plumbing. And she can put in her 30-day notice and we can start getting her moved in. She's not going to move into a fully complete house just because the time frame's not there. And in talking to her, we've both just decided that we'd rather have her in a house that's 85 to 90% complete and finish some of the stuff in the spring as we go. There again, letting perfect quit being the enemy of the good and just getting stuff done. So that's what's going on there. I took a break from there to do this podcast and try to keep rolling on it. We'll see how far I can get today. I don't have a lot of energy or, quite frankly, ambition yet. It's been a long time of being sick. I did get pretty charged up and raring and ready to go at Jack's workshop. And I actually got my interview scheduled with him today. So in January, I will be going on the Survival podcast. Super excited about that. That podcast will also be played on my channel as well. That'll be a live stream. And I'm severely is kind of a weird word for that. I'm really hoping to be live streaming at least one podcast a week at that point. But also starting to do the podcast to where they're videos to go on YouTube, as well as, like a lot of the podcasters do, where you record the podcast and then you strip the audio out and form that into the podcast for the podcatchers and the podcast players, and then the videos can go to the YouTube, the Rumble, all that kind of stuff. So that's the plan. That's the goal. I do need to get a microphone and a more permanent podcasting solution figured out, as I don't really have a great place to do it right now. But getting Grandma's house done will free up the area around my desk to where I can get back to using my desk, which will be fantastic. But I have all the flooring for her house, plus some other stuff kind of piled in front of it, because that was the most convenient place as we were finishing up catering season to store all that stuff, to not have it in the way of working on sheetrocking and all the other things that needed to be done in her place as well. We are very, very overflowing from the seams everywhere. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of things that go along with all the things that are going on. And then there's just a lot of junk that I'm working on getting rid of as well. To add to that, I did sell the one storage shed that we have. It's a 12 by 24, just identical to the catering shed, except for the doors on the opposite end. Sold that to one of the dads from, going to take another drink here. Going edit free today because I don't feel like editing. It's not going to turn out as great. I'm not going to get around to editing. This way I can just kind of push through. So, yeah. So, that shed doesn't really work for what our needs are for it. We really want to get moving with the farm stand in the spring. And so we decided to sell that shed that we have that's in the way anyway. So I've got to figure out where to put all that junk for the time being. But now we're going to build a farm stand there. I think I've talked about it before. I'm pretty sure I've talked about it before. So I've got to get that emptied as well, which means we've got 15 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag, and just trying to stuff and stuff and stuff. So let's see, pull up my notes here that I should have done beforehand. And what I wanted to talk about today, now that we've kind of caught up on everything, is our healthcare. And why I want to talk about our healthcare is, well, because I've been sick for over a month, and we don't have health insurance, not traditional health insurance anyway. We use a medical cost sharing program called Medi-Share. It's a Christian company. They have several parameters in order to be involved with them. And it's basically a major medical situation, but they have a tier now for direct primary care, where you get a little bit of a discount for direct primary care, and your deductible goes up a little bit, but it kind of equals out. And we started using a direct primary care in Hamilton, Montana, that used to actually be my oldest son's regular doctor for quite a while. And we've been meaning to sign up for this for about 6 months, but we haven't gotten around to it. We've had Medi-Share since I left the propane company. So we haven't been without anything at all, but we've been fairly healthy, and just hadn't gotten around to setting everything up. Now, when I came down with pneumonia, the youngest child was sick for 2 weeks as well, and he ended up with a double ear infection and a sinus infection, the big trifecta. So between me needing to go to the doctor and the child needing to go to the doctor, well, that was going to be more out of pocket than just paying them that month to get going on the direct primary care. So on a Sunday afternoon, I set up the direct primary care on the website, filled out all the information, put in the bank information, got that going, set up an appointment for both of us the next day on Monday. We both went in. I had an appointment a little bit later, and I was just like, hey, I'm already here. We got the kid taken care of. They did my stuff right then. We were in and out for both of us in 20 minutes from the time we walked in the door, and had some great stuff going on, just a great visit. Everything taken care of, and then found out that our direct primary care has also made a deal with our local pharmacy for the drugs to be sold at cost plus 10% if you pay cash, slightly more if you pay with a credit card because of credit card fees. So fantastic deal. It's a bit of a different deal because if you have health insurance, the model does not work at all. Paying for health insurance and then paying an extra $250 a month for our family of 6. Individuals are $85 a piece with our specific one. If you're married, it goes to $75 a piece. So saves you about $20 a month. That's cool. And then if you have a family, it goes to $200 a month, and that covers spouses, husband, wife, and then 2 kids. Each additional kid is $25 a month, so it's $250 a month for our family. Add that to the $300 a month we pay for Medi-Share, and we've got a fairly decent health setup as far as coverage and care and everything. For $550 a month, that's way cheaper than we could find anything even on the government marketplace, yada, yada, yada. It's about half of what normal to moderate insurance would cost, and we would still have co-pays and everything when we go to the doctor. Now, I have really bad asthma. I might have talked about that in the past. I'm sure I have talked about that in the past. I haven't been to the doctor a lot for it in the last couple of years. I've been doing a lot of naturopathic stuff. But every couple of years, I get so sick that I need to be on multiple Z-Paks, prednisone, the works. I get super duper sick, end up with pneumonia. And so I've pretty well figured out how to do this. Well, a typical doctor, when you go in and sit down and say, hey, I have pneumonia. I need 2 Z-Paks, and I need a huge taper of prednisone. If they're not your standard primary practicing, care provider that you've been dealing with for years and years and years, which I've had the bad luck and the misfortune of, I've had 3 that I've really liked over the last 6 or 7 years, and they've all either moved away or retired. So I haven't been super consistent with my doctors. When you go in with a request like that, they look at you funny and they basically tell you no. This doctor, I've never really had a care history with him. My son has. The only medical experience I've had with him personally was a sports physical for going to Boy Scout camp last year. So, and that's basically like, you're an adult. You good? Yep. Okay. Here's the form. Sign it. Good to go. So I told him exactly what I was wanting, how it usually goes, what I was looking for. And he basically said, well, it's your asthma. You're the one that lives with it. If that's what needs to happen, then that's what needs to happen. I cannot write you a prescription for a refill on a Z-Pak, but what I can do is send me a reminder in 3 days. I'll send you another prescription for it. The only thing I want to change is I want to add this new allergy medicine that you need to take once a day for the year, and it should help you out quite a bit. So, cool beans. Well, I went back a week later because I wasn't getting any better. I was actually quite a bit worse. And no, it was 2 weeks later. It was 2 weeks later. I'm forgetting. It's been a long time. So I went back and we kind of reassessed and made a plan and made a change. And I actually started making major improvements and was actually feeling pretty darn good when I got on the plane to go to Texas the day after Thanksgiving. The day after Halloween. So I get to Texas. My asthma is not fantastic, but it was well controlled enough to where I didn't have any super issues. Had to use the albuterol inhaler a couple times. Had to stay at my highest dosage prescribed for the daily inhaler, but I never had to use a breathing treatment, which was fantastic. So had a great time at Jack's, met a lot of people, just a fantastic time. And then dropped the car off at the airport, and I had 10 hours to kill at DFW because the car was due back at 11 and my flight out was not until 8 o'clock. And so obviously I'm not going to return that car at 11. I'm going to get it there early so that I don't have to pay a late fee. So yeah, that was a long day. Well, by the time I left there, I was feeling kind of nasally and just kind of tired, but I'd been up late. I'd been drinking a lot, hanging out, having fun. The next day I got back, I still felt pretty tired. By Monday afternoon, I knew I was sick. By Tuesday morning, I knew I had like something horrible. So got a same day appointment, went down, saw the doctor. He's like, yep, you got a heck of a virus thing going on. They tested me for strep and a couple other things, negative on all that. He said, you're going to be miserable. You're going to have body aches. You're going to have fever, and your whole house is probably going to get sick. And he's right. So, I'm on the mend. Sarah's still fairly sick. My oldest, thankfully, has been with his mom, so he is not sick. One of the only joys or pros of having split parenting is sometimes you can avoid every child in the house being sick because one of them's not there. So, and then the youngest is super sick. So, as of right now, 4 out of the 5 in the house are sick. Like I said, I'm on the mend. I've been to the doctor 4 times in the last month. My youngest has been to the doctor once in the last month. We've had several conversations following, all the good stuff. It cost us $0 other than the $250 a month. We'd had a couple $100 in co-pays if we had insurance, let alone if we had prescription insurance. Prescription insurance would have probably made those prescriptions 3 or 4 times more expensive, because it always does. And if you don't believe me, next time you go get a prescription for something that's pretty casual and normal, like the Z-Pack. The Z-Pack was $12. The last Z-Pack I got when I had insurance that was kind of a standard insurance cost me $30 out of pocket for the same exact medicine. Insurance is a racket. So, not saying that it's not great, and if you have it, then fantastic, but I'm not super worried about not having prescription coverage. So, now, but AJ, if you don't use the doctor in December and January, what's going to happen? You know, that's not what's going to happen, but you know, you've paid that money that you wouldn't otherwise paying, but we're still cheaper than we would have been if we would have just been paying for insurance and still had to worry about that. Now, that being said, I'm going to see that doctor probably once a month for the next 6 months, for the simple reason that I am going back onto a carnivore diet. So I'm going to go get labs done and go get everything figured out. I'm not starting that yet. I don't quite feel up to making a huge change to my diet. I kind of want to get better a little bit more first. So I'm going to go get all my cholesterol levels and all of that fantastic blood work done. I'm changing up my daily asthma inhaler because my one that I'm using currently, I've used for the last 6 or 7 years. It's no longer working as good as it should. And I find myself wheezy several times a day and throughout the night, even taking maximum dosage of it. So we'll get some use out of it there. But the really cool thing is we're on a homestead. I'm self-employed. I farm. I do all of these things. We're in Boy Scouts. We have all the stuff we do. Everything up to and including like stitches and x-rays and all that kind of stuff is all included in this base price. He even has, in the coming months, a physical therapist that's going to be coming in under the direct primary care model. Now, I don't know what that's going to do to the price. It's probably going to elevate it a little bit, but that's fine because I wouldn't mind going and seeing the physical therapist to get my knee kind of back into, I know my muscles around my muscle. I know my quads and stuff are not firing quite like they should. I've had multiple knee surgeries, had my meniscus repaired, really stretched some muscles through an old work injury. And long story short, a little bit of PT once a week, once every other week, just to kind of get back in the groove of things, I'm sure would help everything from my knee pain to my walking to my sciatic issues I'm having right now. So that's a major plus. And then if we have to get stitches or if we need an x-ray, it's like $20. It's the cost of the actual disposable and the disposables in the utilization of the x-ray machine. And it's the stitches, the actual sutures and the lidocaine and whatever they use in the office for the stitches that you get charged for, which I asked on average, they said it's about $30 for stitches. Now, if we get a huge laceration, if there's a big bone break, anything like that, obviously they're not going to, cover that and provide for that, but they're going to be there for us through every step of the way, making sure that we're not getting railroaded by the other physicians, that we're getting taken care of and that something's not getting missed. And then any of the aftercare that they can do and help with. So, pretty excited about that. Plus, it's a great doctor with very similar core beliefs that is going off on his own, and we want to support this model as much as possible because it's a model I definitely believe in. I really think that this country would be way better off if we went back to pre-1950s, not with treatments, not with kind of how some things are done. But if we went back to a purely cash system with no medical insurance, I really think that the cost of medicine would be way less expensive. It's not going to happen. Pharmaceutical industrial complex has kind of has ruined that for sure. But these small business models like this really make a difference on day-to-day care. So we're really super excited about that. But with that, I'm going to kind of wrap it up. It kind of, I don't really have a great transition on the way out. My voice is kind of running out. I'm getting a little behind on my breathing, and yeah. So, like I said, just wanted to get this one out. I'm going to be back on Wednesday. Hopefully it's a lot more fluid, more kind of what you would, the way the last few episodes have been and structured and everything. But, yeah, that's what's been going on. And hopefully everything's been going great with you folks. Anyway, for Preparing for Prosperity, I'm AJ Harrison, and have a good day.